Have you ever wondered if the oldest coin in your home could be worth more than a brand new luxury car? It may sound unbelievable, but every year collectors discover ordinary-looking Lincoln Wheat Pennies that turn out to be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. These tiny 1-cent coins have been hiding in piggy banks, forgotten jars, old wallets, and family collections for decades. Most people overlook them because they all seem to look the same. But a few rare dates, mint marks, and minting errors have transformed certain wheat pennies into some of the most valuable coins in American history. In today's video, we're revealing 6 incredible Lincoln Wheat Pennies that every collector dreams of finding. We'll explore what makes each coin so rare, why collectors are willing to pay astonishing prices for them, and the simple details you should check before spending another old penny. Make sure you stay until the very end because the final coin on this list is the rarest of them all, and its incredible story has amazed collectors around the world. You might even have one hiding in your own collection without realizing it. Now let's begin with our first rare Lincoln Wheat Penny. Stop what you're doing for just a moment and think about the last handful of coins you ignored. Maybe they're sitting in a jar on your dresser. Maybe they're hidden in an old coffee can in the garage. Maybe they're tucked away in a dusty coin album that hasn't been opened in years. Now imagine discovering that one of those ordinary-looking pennies could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? After all, we're talking about a coin worth only 1 cent. Most people wouldn't cross the street to pick up a penny lying on the sidewalk. Yet history has shown again and again that some of the most valuable treasures in American numismatics began as ordinary pocket change. Coins that passed through countless hands, bought candy, newspapers, and cups of coffee, later became prized collectibles sought by investors and collectors around the world. Today's story revolves around one such coin, the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, it appears completely ordinary. There is no gold, no silver, no sparkling gemstones, and no obvious sign that it could be worth more than a penny. But here's where things get interesting. Hidden beneath its humble appearance is a fascinating history, a collection of rare varieties, and a level of collector demand that continues to grow year after year. What happened next shocked collectors, as some of the finest examples of this coin began selling for amounts that most people would never associate with a 1-cent piece. The 1951 Wheat Penny was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark located beneath the date on the obverse. Millions were produced, which causes many people to assume the coin has little value. That assumption has caused countless valuable examples to be overlooked. Most people never notice this, but in coin collecting, rarity is only part of the equation. Condition, strike quality, color, preservation, and unusual mint errors can transform a common coin into an extraordinary prize. To truly appreciate the 1951 Wheat Penny, we must travel back to post-war America. The year was 1951. The United States was experiencing dramatic economic growth. Families were buying homes, industries were expanding, and the country was entering a new era of prosperity. The scars of World War II were beginning to heal, and Americans were looking toward the future with optimism. Through all of this, Lincoln Wheat Pennies remained a familiar part of everyday life. Every time someone purchased a newspaper, paid for a bus ride, or bought a piece of candy, pennies exchanged hands. The Denver Mint worked tirelessly to meet the nation's demand for coinage. Massive presses struck millions of cents every day, producing coins that would circulate across the country for decades. Few people realized that some of those coins would eventually become important collectibles. The Lincoln Wheat Penny itself already carried a rich legacy by 1951. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first circulating United States coin to feature an actual historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin represented a major departure from earlier American coinage. Lincoln's dignified portrait on the obverse and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse quickly became beloved symbols of American history. As the years passed, billions of wheat pennies entered circulation. Many were worn down through heavy use. Others were lost, melted, damaged, or discarded, yet a small number survived in remarkable condition. These pristine survivors would eventually become the focus of intense collector competition. This tiny detail could change everything because a coin's condition often determines whether it is worth a few cents or several $1,000s. The 1951 D issue occupies a particularly interesting place within the Wheat Penny series. While not considered one of the key dates, it remains highly desirable among collectors attempting to complete Lincoln cent collections. Demand increases dramatically for coins exhibiting original mint luster, strong strikes, and attractive red coloration. In the highest grades, competition becomes fierce, and prices can climb surprisingly high. What makes this even more exciting is that many valuable examples remain undiscovered. Unlike famous rarities that were recognized immediately, the 1951 D Wheat Penny often hides in plain sight. It can be found in inherited collections, old bank rolls, estate sales, flea markets, and forgotten coin jars. Every year, collectors make unexpected discoveries because they took the time to examine a seemingly ordinary penny more carefully. But the story doesn't end there. The Denver Mint occasionally produced coins with striking abnormalities, doubled dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, off-center strikes, and other fascinating errors. These unusual pieces attract enormous attention from specialists who understand just how rare they can be. The difference between an ordinary 1951 D cent and an exceptional variety can be life-changing for a lucky finder. As we continue this journey, we'll examine the intricate design of the coin, uncover the most valuable errors and varieties, explore the diagnostic features collectors search for, and reveal auction results that may leave you speechless. Some of the numbers associated with the finest known examples are difficult to believe until you see them for yourself. And if you think the story is already exciting, wait until you discover the tiny details hidden within the 1951 D Wheat Penny that most people overlook completely. Those details are exactly what separate casual observers from successful collectors, and they might be sitting in a coin collection much closer than you think. Next up. Before you skip this video, take just a second to think about the pennies sitting in your home right now. Maybe there's an old coin jar collecting dust on a shelf. Maybe you inherited a small coin collection from a parent or grandparent and never looked through it carefully. Perhaps there's a forgotten roll of wheat pennies tucked inside a drawer that hasn't been opened in years. Most people assume every penny is worth exactly 1 cent, and that's exactly why incredible discoveries continue to happen. Every year, ordinary people stumble upon coins that collectors have spent decades searching for. Some of those coins sell for hundreds of dollars. Others reach thousands. A select few have crossed into the tens of thousands because someone noticed one tiny detail that everyone else overlooked. The value may leave you speechless because today's coin looks almost identical to millions of others. Yet under the right conditions, it can become one of the most desirable Lincoln Wheat Pennies from the early 1950s. Today's story centers on the 1953 D Lincoln Wheat Penny struck at the Denver Mint. At first glance, there is nothing flashy about it. Its familiar bronze color, the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and the wheat stalks on the reverse make it appear just like countless other pennies that circulated across America during the 20th century. But here's where things get interesting. Experienced collectors know that appearances can be deceiving. A coin's true value is determined not only by its date, but also by its strike quality, mint mark, color, preservation, die variety, and overall rarity in top condition. Those factors can transform an ordinary-looking penny into a prized collectible worth far more than its face value. The year 1953 was a fascinating period in American history. The nation was experiencing strong economic growth following World War II. Suburban neighborhoods were expanding, new automobiles filled the highways, and millions of Americans carried Lincoln Wheat Pennies in their pockets every single day. The Denver Mint worked tirelessly to supply the growing economy with fresh coinage. Massive presses struck millions of cents, each intended to circulate through grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, and local businesses. No one at the Mint imagined that decades later collectors would carefully examine these same pennies under magnification, searching for tiny characteristics capable of dramatically increasing their value. The Lincoln Wheat Penny had already become an American icon by 1953. Introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it represented a historic milestone as the first regularly circulating United States coin to feature the portrait of an actual president. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin quickly earned public admiration for its elegant appearance and meaningful symbolism. By the early 1950s, generations of Americans had grown up using wheat pennies every day, making them one of the most familiar coins in American commerce. Most people never notice this, but the small D beneath the date tells an important story. The tiny mint mark identifies the Denver Mint as the coin's birthplace. While hundreds of millions of 1953 D cents were produced, only a small percentage survived in pristine condition. Even fewer display exceptional strikes, original mint-tread surfaces, and the characteristics collectors prize most highly. This tiny detail could change everything, because condition often determines whether a coin is worth only a few cents or thousands of dollars. As these pennies circulated from hand to hand, they became silent witnesses to American history. They purchased newspapers announcing major world events, bought school lunches for children, passed through neighborhood diners, and traveled across the country in pockets, purses, and cash registers. Every nick, every scratch, and every worn edge tells part of that remarkable journey, yet some coins escaped heavy circulation altogether. Carefully stored in rolls, coin albums, or forgotten boxes, these remarkable survivors preserved the same brilliant luster they displayed the day they left the Denver Mint. What happened next shocked collectors as certified high-grade examples began setting impressive auction records. Professional grading services discovered that truly exceptional 1953 D wheat pennies were much scarcer than many collectors had assumed. Competition intensified as registry-set collectors searched for the finest known examples, driving values steadily higher. Suddenly, a coin that millions once ignored became the focus of serious attention throughout the numismatic community. But the story becomes even more exciting when mint eras and die varieties enter the picture. Although the majority of 1953 D wheat pennies are normal circulation strikes, a small number exhibit fascinating production mistakes. Repunched mint marks, double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, cuds, and other striking anomalies have become highly desirable among specialists. These unusual coins demonstrate that even during large-scale production, the minting process was never perfect. That is precisely why collectors continue searching through inherited collections, bank rolls, estate sales, flea markets, and forgotten jars of old pennies. Every discovery begins with curiosity. Every valuable coin starts with someone deciding to take a closer look. The next time you find an old wheat penny dated 1953 with a small D beneath the date, remember that its story may be far more remarkable than its humble appearance suggests. In the next chapter, we'll examine the coin's intricate design, uncover its most valuable errors and varieties, explain exactly how experts authenticate premium examples, and reveal the hidden diagnostics that separate ordinary 1953 D wheat pennies from the extraordinary specimens capable of commanding astonishing prices. Next up. Now that you know why the 1954 D Lincoln Wheat Penny has captured the attention of collectors for decades, it's time to look beyond the date and mint mark. This is where ordinary pocket change begins to separate itself from true numismatic treasures. Most people never notice this, but experienced collectors spend far more time studying a coin's tiny details than its date alone. Every line, every letter, every edge, and every surface tells part of the coin's story. A seemingly insignificant feature can mean the difference between a common wheat penny worth only a few cents and an exceptional example worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But here's where things get interesting. The 1954 D wheat penny possesses several characteristics that make it especially appealing to specialists who appreciate quality, rarity, and minting history. The obverse features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln faces to the right with a calm, dignified expression that has become one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. Above his head appears the motto "In God We Trust," while the word "liberty" is positioned to the left. The date 1954 appears on the right, with the small D mint mark directly beneath it, identifying the Denver Mint as the striking facility. On exceptional specimens, Lincoln's hair strands, ear, bow tie, and coat lines display crisp detail and strong definition. Coins with sharp strikes and original mint luster are considerably more desirable than weakly struck examples, particularly when they retain their original bright red copper color. This tiny detail could change everything because color plays a major role in determining value. Collectors classify copper cents as brown, or red, with full red examples generally commanding the strongest premiums. Turning the coin over reveals the classic wheat reverse, another masterpiece by Victor David Brenner. The words 1 cent appear boldly at the center beneath United States of America, while the Latin motto E Plus Unum arches gracefully across the top. Two elegant wheat ears frame the design, symbolizing America's agricultural strength and prosperity. On premium examples, the wheat kernels display exceptional sharpness, the lettering appears bold, and the fields remain smooth and reflective. Collectors carefully inspect these details because weak strikes, excessive wear, or cleaning can significantly reduce desirability. Original surfaces with natural luster are always preferred over coins that have been polished or chemically altered. The technical specifications remain consistent with other bronze Lincoln Wheat Pennies of the era. A genuine 1954 D cent weighs approximately 3.11 grams, has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and measures about 1.55 millimeters in thickness. Its composition consists of 95% copper, with the remaining 5% made up of tin and zinc. These specifications are important because counterfeit or altered coins frequently fail basic weight and measurement tests. Collectors routinely use precise digital scales and calipers to verify authenticity before examining more subtle diagnostics. But here's where things get interesting. Although millions of 1954 D cents were produced, not every coin left the mint exactly as intended. The minting process involved enormous pressure, rapidly moving machinery, and steel dies striking thousands of planchets every hour. Under those conditions, small mistakes were inevitable. Those mistakes have become some of the most fascinating and valuable aspects of the series. One category collectors eagerly search for is double die varieties. A double die occurs during die creation, causing portions of the design to appear doubled on every coin struck from that die. Genuine doubling shows clear separation on letters or numbers rather than simple machine vibration. On any suspected example, examine the date, the word, liberty, and in God We Trust, using strong magnification. True hub doubling displays distinct secondary images with rounded, well-defined edges. Another fascinating variety involves repunched mint marks. During the era when mint marks were punched into working dies by hand, occasional repositioning created overlapping impressions. If a mint mark was punched more than once, traces of the earlier punch may remain visible around the final D. Genuine repunched mint marks are subtle but highly collectible because they represent an authentic part of the die-making process rather than post-mint damage. Collectors also search carefully for die cracks and die cuds. As dies age through repeated use, stress sometimes produced cracks that transferred as raised lines onto coins. When a piece of the die actually broke away, the missing area created a raised blob known as a cud. While some die cracks are common, dramatic examples attract significant collector interest because they illustrate the gradual deterioration of mint equipment during production. Off-center strikes are another desirable error. These occur when the blank planchet is improperly positioned between the dies before striking. Depending on the degree of displacement, parts of the design may be missing, while the date and mint mark remain visible. Coins displaying both a clear date and a significant off-center strike often command strong premiums because they combine dramatic visual appeal with complete identification. Broad strikes represent another collectible error. Normally, the retaining collar surrounds the planchet during striking, forming the finished diameter and edge. If the collar fails to function properly, the coin expands beyond its normal size, producing a broad strike. Collectors appreciate these errors because they clearly demonstrate an unusual malfunction within the minting process. Clipped planchets also attract attention. Before striking, coin blanks are punched from long strips of bronze. Occasionally, overlapping punches leave a curved section missing from the blank. When struck, the resulting coin displays a smooth, curved clip. Genuine clips usually exhibit the Blakesley effect, a weakness opposite the missing section, helping experts distinguish authentic mint errors from later damage. Die chips, retained cuds, struck-through errors, and lamination errors can also appear on 1954D wheat pennies. Die chips create small raised bumps where tiny fragments of steel broke away from the die. Struck-through errors occur when grease, cloth fibers, or other foreign material becomes trapped between the die and planchet, leaving unusual recessed impressions. Lamination errors result from impurities within the metal alloy that cause portions of the surface to peel or separate. Each type of error offers a glimpse into the complex manufacturing process behind every coin. This tiny detail could change everything because not every unusual mark is a valuable mint error. Damage that occurs after the coin leaves the mint is extremely common. Scratches, dents, corrosion, environmental staining, harsh cleaning, and tool marks often fool inexperienced collectors into believing they have discovered a rarity. Professional numismatists always distinguish between genuine mint-made characteristics and post-mint damage before assigning significant value. Authentication becomes especially important when examining exceptionally valuable examples. Begin by confirming the correct weight of approximately 3.11 grams. Measure the diameter at 19.05 millimeters and inspect the edge for signs of filing, alteration, or casting seams. Examine the surfaces under magnification. Genuine coins display natural flow lines and original texture, while counterfeit pieces often reveal porous surfaces, bubbles, or unnatural graininess. Color should also appear consistent with aged bronze rather than artificial plating. One of the most overlooked diagnostics is surface originality. Experienced collectors strongly prefer coins that have never been cleaned. Cleaning removes delicate mint luster, leaves fine hairline scratches, and creates unnatural brightness that permanently reduces collector appeal. A naturally toned coin with original surfaces is almost always more valuable than a cleaned coin with a brighter appearance. Finally, remember that the most valuable 1954D wheat pennies are usually those combining several desirable qualities at once: an original red color, an exceptionally sharp strike, minimal contact marks, and in rare cases, a recognized mint error or die variety. When these characteristics come together, collector demand rises dramatically. What appears to be an ordinary penny can quickly become the centerpiece of a collection, reminding us once again that careful observation, not luck alone, is often what transforms loose change into a remarkable discovery. Next up. The 1956D Lincoln Wheat Penny may look like an ordinary 1-cent coin at first glance, but experienced collectors know that some of the most valuable discoveries begin with the smallest details. Most people never notice this, yet the difference between a common wheat penny and a premium collectible can be found in tiny design elements, striking quality, original color, and rare mint-made errors. This tiny detail could change everything because collectors don't simply buy dates. They buy quality, originality, and rarity. The obverse of the 1956D wheat penny features Victor David Brenner's timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above Lincoln appears the inscription "In God We Trust," while Liberty is positioned to the left of the portrait. The date, 1956, is located on the right, with the small D mint mark directly beneath it, identifying the coin as having been struck at the Denver Mint. On sharply struck examples, Lincoln's hair strands are crisp, the ear is fully defined, and the bow tie and coat lines remain sharp. Coins with full mint luster and original red color are especially desirable because copper naturally darkens over time. Collectors classify these cents as red RD, red-brown RB, or brown BN, with fully red examples generally commanding the highest premiums. Turning the coin over reveals the famous wheat reverse. Two wheat ears frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, while the motto EPLUBUSUNUM arches across the top. Strongly struck coins display bold lettering, complete wheat kernels, and smooth fields free from excessive contact marks. Collectors closely inspect the reverse, because weakness in the wheat ears often indicates a softer strike rather than wear. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck in a bronze alloy, consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and has a plain edge. These specifications are critical when authenticating valuable examples. Any significant deviation in weight or size deserves further examination, as altered or counterfeit pieces occasionally appear in the marketplace. But here's where things get interesting. Although more than 1 billion 1956 cents were produced, the Denver Mint's enormous production created opportunities for fascinating mint-made errors. Most examples are common, but certain varieties attract significant collector attention. Collectors first search for repunched mint marks. During this period, mint marks were still punched into the dies by hand before striking began. Occasionally, the punch shifted slightly between impressions, creating traces of multiple punches around the D. Genuine RPM varieties show distinct secondary impressions under magnification and are highly collectible. Another sought-after category involves double die varieties. Unlike machine doubling, which reduces value, a true double die originates during die creation and displays clear separation on letters or numbers. Examine the date, liberty, and in God we trust carefully using a quality loupe. Genuine hub doubling appears rounded and well-defined rather than flat or shelf-like. Die cracks and die chips also appear on some 1956 cents. As dies aged, stress occasionally produced raised cracks across the coin's surface. Larger breaks could develop into retained cuds, creating unusual raised areas along the rim. While many are minor, dramatic examples are popular because they document the life cycle of a working die. Off-center strikes are another exciting discovery. When a blank planchet enters the striking chamber improperly positioned, part of the design may be missing. If the date and mint mark remain visible, these dramatic errors often command strong collector premiums. Broad strikes, clipped planchets, struck-through errors, and lamination errors are also worth searching for. Each represents a genuine minting mistake rather than damage after circulation. Most people never notice this, but distinguishing mint errors from post-mint damage is one of the most important skills a collector can develop. How can you identify a valuable example? Start by confirming the weight of approximately 3.11 grams with a precise digital scale. Next, inspect the surfaces under magnification. Original mint luster should radiate naturally from the center of the coin. Avoid pieces that have been polished or cleaned, since cleaning permanently reduces collector value by removing original surfaces. Pay close attention to color. Full red specimens with minimal contact marks and strong strikes consistently outperform darker circulated examples. Finally, compare any suspected variety with photographs published by respected grading services and variety specialists. If your coin appears unusual, professional authentication may be worthwhile because an authentic mint error can dramatically increase value. The value may leave you speechless, not because every 1956 wheat penny is rare, but because a single overlooked detail can transform an ordinary cent into a coin that collectors eagerly compete to own.